Lenny, thanks for taking the time. My first question is, what made you want to do a movie about a big giant head?
Well, had somebody put it to me like that, I think I probably would have said thanks, but no thanks. But what happened was, I read a sort of an early version of the script. It was about 4 years ago now, which changed a lot in developing it with the writers and all that stuff as it does. But there was just something about the way this character worked that was intriguing. I mean, and kind of moving as well as being ridiculous and funny. And it was a kind of territory that I don't think I'd really seen before in a film. And it's something that various people who've got involved in it later have said that it's just kind of very fresh and different. And I just couldn't really get this crazy character out of my head. And I have to say, I did ask myself, am I making a career-ending decision? And there were certainly times in the lead up to the film where I thought, I'm clearly not in my right mind. This was really, really hard. It is a tough thing to get right. Tonally, the film is really, you have to get it bang on, or it's going to be too quirky or too ridiculous, or But anyway, yeah, I just went with it.
Now, did you know John Ronson before? Yeah, you read the script. Were you friends, or did you meet him afterwards?
No, I met him afterwards, and actually, I knew of him because I'd seen his documentaries on TV, and I'd often read him in The Guardian. He's a great journalist, a great kind of, in his books as well. I think I'd seen The Men Who Stare at Goats, which is based on his book. But I got a call, and John and Peter were particularly keen on a film I made, my very first film called Adam and Paul, which is an very, very small Irish film. And they're just fans of it, and for whatever reason they felt there was something in the kind of tone of that film that made sense. Frank and I went and I met them, and we got on really well. And the funny thing is, more important than agreeing on the things we liked about the idea, we really agreed on the things we didn't like about the script. And that's where you want to be. And I always say it's like in a relationship, that it's more important to bond over the things you both hate than the things you both love. Because somebody else liking something that you hate, that's just too painful.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think like an extra element helped with the film because of John's relationship with Chris Seavey?
Yeah, I think. Oh, definitely. I mean, it was the spark. It also got John thinking about this kind of, what would it be like if Chris Seavey's creation, Frank Sidebottom, who was this sort of British entertainment character in British entertainment in the 80s and the 90s, what would it be like if somebody like that was real? If somebody really, really, for whatever reason, wore a mask or a fake head, couldn't reveal themselves, felt they couldn't kind of operate without that protection. And also, Chris Seavey himself was a kind of outsider creative powerhouse. He just, he had that kind of iconoclastic, and you get it in British comedy, that sort of very, very rule-breaking playfulness. And I think Chris's spirit, even though our Frank is very, very different to Frank Sidebottom, Chris's kind of punk creative spirit really does flow into our film. I remember Frank Sidebottom from when I was a kid, and he stayed with me, but I don't think I would have made you can't make a biopic about a fictional character anyway, you can, but
right.
So when people say, why don't you make a film about the real Frank Sidebottom, well, there wasn't one, and Chris didn't want a film about himself. He wasn't interested in anybody making a film about him, so he was very supportive of the idea of us kind of taking this crazy notion and just running with it in our own direction.
You think Michael Fassbender really captured like the essence of Chris and Frank?
I think what he captured was the essence of a whole lot of characters, and some of them, one of them was Chris and Frank, but others were like Daniel Johnston and Captain Beefheart and a whole load of kind of outsider creators, people on the fringes, and they were kind of mashed up in this character. And what Michael brought was just this, well, apart from just being a great actor, he brought the character a certain kind of gravity, that you just really, which it really needed, so it just didn't topple over into pure silliness. I mean, there's plenty of silliness in the film, but it does have a real heart, and I think that's down to having as substantial an actor as Michael playing this part. Not playing it out and out for laughs, but really finding a character in the middle of the story.
Right. Were you trying to reach, like you were saying, the heart of the story, the heart of this character?
Yes. I mean, I'm always I don't ever like anything to be one-dimensional, and I think one of the reasons why they were interested in me, and the same reason I was interested in the project, was just the feeling that you could kind of ground this story in something quite real, that would, I hope, touch people and surprise them in where it takes you as the film progresses. So yeah, that you can't look at a character with a fake head and not ask the question, what would that mean for a person? Why might they do that? And what can it tell us about the masks we all hide behind them?
Yeah.
Those are the things that were so much fun to explore.
Yeah, right. How was the relationship with Michael and Maggie Gyllenhaal? She had to play opposite a guy in a big giant head.
The relationships were great. I mean, the thing is, there's always everybody, great actors are usually pretty strong personalities, and so this is sort of the beginning of any project. It always takes like a day or two for people to sort of like find their place and for the group to gel. But the group really did gel. I mean, one of the reasons I think is that the band in the film really play the music. So Michael's really singing, Donald's really playing keyboards, drums are real. It's recorded on the day, really for live, and that meant that everybody had to rehearse like hell beforehand, and they bonded as a kind of band, and that there was a great camaraderie between them, and that I think that carries through into the film. You believe they're a band.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. I mean, the film's fantastic, and congratulations and everything, and appreciate you taking the time, Lenny.
Not at all. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.